¿Por qué Salomé?
Salomé, cuando empezamos a ver qué ópera íbamos a hacer, Alex y yo, Alex quería grabar, tenía como tres vertientes, ¿no? Una, la música rusa, dijimos, bueno, yo creo que ahorita, en el momento en que lo empezamos a producir, estaba muy cercana la invasión a Ucrania. Dije, yo creo que si queremos hacer un impacto global, esta música a lo mejor nos va a bloquear en algunos aspectos. La música alemana entra globalmente siempre, y Strauss y Wagner obviamente juegan hacia las particulares musicales de Alex, ¿no? Y de ahí, bueno, fue realmente, como teníamos un timetable que queríamos sacar el recording y el documental lo más pronto posible, era encontrar mucho también dos cosas. Uno es qué queremos decir y otro la desgracia de la industria. Es que no, cuando quieres hacer Wagner o Strauss, hay 3 o 4 personas en el mundo que las pueden hacer, de la calidad de ellos, ¿no? Entonces, gracias a Dios en la consultoría nosotros nos dedicamos al business intelligence, de saber quién está libre, cuándo están libre, cuánto cobran, qué cantan, cómo comen, si son buena onda, si no, si le van a la América, así, ¿no? Entonces, ese es nuestro servicio. Entonces, cuando vimos que había una ahora sí que conspiración lunar de que la Orquesta Minería podía estas 2 semanas en octubre, y en esas 2 semanas en octubre el señor estaba libre, y la señora estaba libre, y Alex estaba libre, y yo estaba libre, y el hotel estaba, o sea, todo estaba así de que... Entonces dijimos, bueno, ¿qué podemos hacer con estos chicos de este equipo que está libre ese día? ¿No? Y Salomé fue muy obvio. ¿Por qué? Porque pues yo ya los había visto. Son roles para mí que son top one choice cuando hago casting mundial, y hacer mi único en Santa Fe. Dije, bueno, pues yo creo que esa. Y ya cuando lo empezamos a masticar juntos, and Alex, please, you can jump also. I know that it was a little bit like, we should do Salome, but I think that you have fallen in love, you have had now specific stories about why Salome and how Salome speaks to you, no?
Yeah. As I say, I've had the fortune of having Strauss's music in my life for a long time, and his music speaks to me on a very deep level. I have not conducted Salome before, and it's almost the only Strauss opera I have conducted before, so here we are. It's music that in typical Strauss fashion, as Chris said, you have 105 musicians, and actually there's not that many times they play I mean, there are big loud moments, and those are fun, and that's what I fell in love with as a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old with Wagner and Strauss, was the sheer blastissimo of it. But more often it's intimate and deeply human, and it's a deeply human opera. And it explores, like all great art actually, not only music, but I think music is particularly powerful at this, both symphonic and operatic. It explores the best and also the worst of us as a species. And it's a story of profound child abuse and pedophilia that Salome has to endure against any volition. And I was sort of shocked. I've spent the last year buried in this opera, in reading about Wilde's motivations for the plays, Strauss's, the background, revisiting the Gospels again, seeing how those relate to the opera or don't, which more often not. It's only loosely based. But what comes through in this opera is the deep humanity. And I briefly talked to Nick about this yesterday, that John the Baptist often is presented as a shouty finger wagger, but actually he's the voice of reason as far as I could tell in all of this, who's inviting us to embrace something higher and greater and kinder than is perhaps our human instinct, which is, I think, very appealing in our day and age, and perhaps always. And there's just there's so much humanity to his role, and then there's so much solidarity with Salome's suffering. And it was very interesting to me when I spoke to a lot of older men in this industry, and I said, what do you think Salome is about? I'm not going to name any names, but people I really, really respect and admire. And they said, oh, it's about this, they didn't use language quite as polite, but they said it's about this crazy woman who is just obsessed. And I said, I thought it's completely wrong. As Amber alluded to, we were all teenagers once, we can remember what it's like. And you have the obsessions. You also have stupidity. I mean, you do stupid things as teenagers. You think stupid things. Your brain's not formed yet. Some people's does eventually form fully, and some of us are still waiting. That's me. But you know, so you know, she says, "Oh, I want his head on a platter." I don't think it's that important that she says that. I mean, you know, I remember being 7 and locking my dad's keys in his car. Why? I don't know, but I did. You know, stupid. You know, she said a stupid thing because she was young, and you know, we do stupid things when we're young. But she said a stupid thing, and so this poor man's head is cut off. Meanwhile, the person who survives all of this, Salome, is killed. John the Baptist is killed. Salome isn't killed historically, but she is killed in this story. But Herod, who is incestuous pedophile, lives. So you know, it's not a beautiful story, but it's a very real story, and it's an ugly story with very beautiful moments of deep humanity, and the reality of it, the grittiness of it. You know, I think when I think of my relatives or friends who don't like classical music, although I work on that frequently, you know, they say, "Oh, it's all so polite and fancy," and it's not. These are as real as crime dramas, but just with the best music you could possibly imagine. So that realness of it, plus the sheer luxury of the music, the warmth, the detail of the writing, the melodic genius, is what appealed to me in Salome personally.